Hello and welcome to our channel. The Dome of the Rock is one of the most important holy sites in Jerusalem. It sits on a sacred hill known as the Temple Mount to Jews and Christians. A recent event at the Dome of the Rock has caused a global crisis, threatening peace and stability in the region and the world. What happened at this holy site? And how will it affect Israel's future and biblical prophecies? Join us as we explore the major implications of this recent shocking event at the Dome of the Rock. Before we dive into the event's impact, it's crucial to understand why this site is so significant and controversial. Jerusalem holds a special place in the hearts of Jews, Muslims, and Christians. The Temple Mount, a sacred hill, is a source of conflict and violence, with both Palestinians and Israelis claiming it. Tensions have been rising for years and reached a peak in 2022 with attacks by Palestinians and Israeli Arabs, resulting in 17 Israeli deaths. It was the worst violence since 2006. Recently, during Ramadan, a holy month for Muslims, chaos erupted at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, part of the Dome of the Rock. Some masked Palestinians, who had stayed overnight, started throwing stones, firecrackers, and other objects at Israeli police. The police responded with tear gas, stun grenades, and batons. The clash was intense. The Palestinians retreated to the mosque, locked themselves in, and continued to throw stones. The police stormed the mosque, arresting those inside. The operation was not smooth, with about 160 Palestinians injured, including a guard who was shot in the eye with a rubber bullet. 4 women, 27 children, and 1 journalist were also hurt, along with some police officers, one seriously. This chaos happened despite an agreement between the police and Al-Aqsa compound authorities that no one would stay overnight during Ramadan. Why did the Palestinians break this agreement? They fear that if Jews gain control of the site, they might be evicted from a place they consider holy. But is this fear justified? Is the violence necessary? Can this conflict be resolved peacefully? To answer these questions, we need to understand why this place is sacred to both Jews and Muslims. The Temple Mount has immense religious and historical significance for both groups. Around 1000 BCE, King David of Israel conquered Jerusalem and made it his capital. He planned to build a temple there to house the Ark of the Covenant, which contained the 10 Commandments tablets. He chose Mount Moriah, now known as the Temple Mount, for the temple. His son Solomon built the temple, which took 7 years to complete. It was a magnificent structure for worship and sacrifice. However, after Solomon's death, the kingdom was divided, and eventually, the Babylonians invaded, destroyed the temple, and exiled the Jews. They later returned and rebuilt the temple, which the Romans destroyed in 70 CE during the First Jewish-Roman War. Since then, the temple has not been rebuilt, but the Western Wall remains. This wall is one of Judaism's holiest sites where Jews go to pray and connect with their faith. For Muslims, the Temple Mount is called Haram al-Sharif, meaning noble sanctuary. It is the 3rd holiest site in Islam after Mecca and Medina. Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from here during the night journey, known as Isra and Miraj. This event is a spiritual milestone, showing the Prophet's closeness to God and inspiring believers. To commemorate this event, the Dome of the Rock was built. Both Jews and Muslims have strong claims to this site and a stake in its future. Jews hope to build the 3rd temple here, which is said to play a role in the coming of the Messiah. The burning question is, who has the legitimate claim to this site, Muslims or Jews? This question has no simple answer. To understand the origin of this tension, we need to explore the history of this ongoing conflict. This tension has been simmering for centuries, rooted in the region's complex historical context. It all began in 614 CE when the Sasanian Empire invaded and captured Jerusalem, significantly impacting the city's religious and cultural landscape. The Byzantine Empire reclaimed Jerusalem in 629 CE, restoring Christian authority. In 638 CE, Jerusalem fell under the Islamic Caliphate led by Umar II al-Khattab, establishing Muslim rule and profoundly influencing the city's culture, architecture, and religion. The Muslim presence in Jerusalem became deeply rooted, and under their rule, the city thrived. It became a center of Islamic culture, with impressive architecture and infrastructure, including the Dome of the Rock. However, things changed dramatically in 1099 CE when the Crusaders took control of Jerusalem during the First Crusade, leading to Latin Christian rule and major changes in the city. In 1187, Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, captured Jerusalem from the Crusaders, returning the city to Muslim control. The Crusaders briefly regained control in 1229 but lost it again in 1244 after the Battle of La Fourbe. To weaken Jerusalem's defenses, the Muslim rulers destroyed the city walls. By 1260, the Mamluks had taken over after defeating the Mongols, implementing various administrative and architectural changes. In 1517, the Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Selim I, captured Jerusalem from the Mamluks. Suleiman the Magnificent, who ruled from 1538 to 1541, restored the city's walls to leave a lasting legacy. The Ottoman Empire eventually collapsed after World War I, and the British Mandate took over. Following Israel's declaration of independence in 1948, Jerusalem was divided, with Jordan occupying East Jerusalem and Israel occupying West Jerusalem. This division complicated access to holy sites like the Temple Mount. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel captured East Jerusalem and the Temple Mount but allowed the Islamic Waqf to manage the site while maintaining security control. This arrangement has led to ongoing tensions, as both sides claim sovereignty over the site. Now let's focus on the Dome of the Rock, built by the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik between 685 and 691 CE. An inscription inside the dome confirms its completion date as 691 to 692 CE. The dome, with its golden roof and octagonal shape. Interestingly, the Dome of the Rock does not directly mention the Miraj, the event where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have ascended to heaven. While some early sources hint at a connection to the Miraj, this idea only became prominent in the 11th century. The original purpose and meaning of the Dome of the Rock remain unclear. The Dome of the Rock is not a typical mosque and does not follow the usual layout of Islamic religious buildings. Some scholars suggest it was built to assert Islam's place in the Abrahamic tradition, with inscriptions rejecting Christian doctrines. Another theory is that it was meant to rival the grandeur of Jerusalem's Christian holy sites, such as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. A more controversial claim is that Abd al-Malik intended to replace the Kaaba with the Dome of the Rock to redirect the Muslim pilgrimage from Mecca to Jerusalem, but this theory is debated by modern scholars. Another theory proposes that the dome symbolizes the end of time and the connection between the earthly and heavenly realms. Some argue that the Dome of the Rock's location, design, and decorations fit Islamic and Byzantine beliefs about the Day of Judgment. Meanwhile, Jews believe the Temple Mount is where the first and second Jewish temples once stood. They have some evidence to support this, including a recent earthquake that allowed archaeologists to dig under the Dome of the Rock and find materials from the Second Temple period. Despite this evidence, both sides remain firm in their positions. This ongoing conflict has led to high tension, with Muslims fearing potential attacks on the Dome of the Rock and thus restricting Jewish access to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound during religious activities. Jews, on the other hand, worry about the Dome of the Rock preventing the fulfillment of their messianic prophecies. The situation is very delicate and requires cooperation from both sides, which seems unlikely given the current conflicts. One key issue is the biblical prophecy of the abomination of desolation, which is believed to play a crucial role in the events leading up to the Messiah's return. The third temple is a central element in this prophecy. Its construction is seen as a sign that the end times are near, while its destruction or desecration signals the arrival of the Antichrist and the start of the Great Tribulation, a period of severe suffering and persecution for the faithful. This concept is based on the book of Daniel and teachings of Jesus. The third temple's significance varies among the three Abrahamic religions. For Jews, it symbolizes the hope for redemption and the fulfillment of prophecy. For Christians, it is where Jesus is believed to return as king. For Muslims, it represents the coming of the Mahdi, who will bring justice and peace. However, building the third temple on the site of the Dome of the Rock, a sacred Islamic shrine, makes the issue extremely contentious. The debate involves complex layers of history, prophecy, religion, and politics. It challenges us to think critically and respect different perspectives. What are your thoughts on the possibility of the third temple being rebuilt? Share your views in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to support our work, please click the Super Thanks button below. Your support helps us continue our mission to share important stories.